Feel like the first time. Feel like the first time. Merry Christmas Eve to all people. I hope you're having a fabulous Christmas. I'm a little under the weather because where I live, they love to turn down the heat when you really need it. My apartment feels like a house. Like, you know how like certain people's houses, you have to keep your hoodie on when you come to their house. And that's how my apartment is. Like, when it gets really, really cold, like yesterday was, I think it was like 20 something outside. It's funny because I felt the heat turn up. So when the temperature outside went up, the heat went up. So they purposefully doing that. So I am under the weather a little bit. I have a runny nose. And I'm actually on my way to do a podcast with my homegirl. And she's been asking me for a while. She canceled on me a few days ago, so we rescheduled for today. And I'm on my way to her house because we tried to do it on Instagram, but it wasn't happening. Google Meets, it wasn't happening. So I suggested we just do it in person, right? We are Christian women, so it's going to be like a gospel Christian podcast. She is a minister, so she's going to be asking me questions from a godly perspective. So stay tuned for that. Okay. But real quick, I wanted to talk about the lyrics of songs and female bashing. So I was looking on YouTube just now as I was getting ready, and they was talking about, what's that group, New Edition? The song Poison. She's driving me out of my mind. So I wanted to briefly talk about that. So growing up, I always thought that song was about a toxic woman, possibly, or really, you know, in the lyric it says, me and the crew used to do her. So I wanted to briefly talk about that. And New Edition is from the older generation. They like in their 50s. I'm in my 30s, so that's like a generation gap. So, but what I noticed as a woman myself of 35, most of us who, if you have any type of male attention, even when you're a virgin or you're not having sex with anybody, people will call you out your name and make assumptions, because it goes back as far as the Bible days of the hatred of women. It really is. So you calling this girl poison, right? And the lyric goes, if I were you, I would take precautions. Me and the crew used to do her. Okay, so the person on YouTube, they saying that it's about a woman who has STDs. So my question for New Edition or anybody is, if she has STDs and you and the crew used to do her, aren't you poison now? Aren't you? So somebody, and then I want you ladies to think about a time when somebody called you out your name. It's always a guy that wants to sleep with you, or some guy that wants to be with you, and then you reject him, and so he wants to tell people you're no good and you're a hoe. That's what I thought that song was. Because New Edition as kids, they wasn't fine. Like, they let's keep it a buck. So that's what I thought that song meant. Like, they got their little feelings hurt, and so that's what, oh, she's poison, but you and the crew used to do her, so now you're poison too, right? So comment, like, and subscribe. We talking about lyrics today in the song Poison. What do y'all think it means? And the girl thinks it's about STDs, but it's like, she's poison, but you and the crew used to do her, so now you're poison now, right? Those are my thoughts.